moving in further into the summer, and I'm personally getting really excited because we're finally to the point that we're starting to make some decisions on our road trip. So my husband and I spent some time yesterday just kind of going over some ideas and really looking at our time frame and when we need to be across country. So it looks like that we are leaving on a Monday instead of a Sunday. There's a couple of things that popped up for that weekend that I just felt really, that weekend that we were supposed to leave, that I felt were really important for me to take on. I didn't quite mention that as we were planning yesterday and talking, but you know, it is what it is, and I'll be forgiven eventually. Anyway, so what we're going to talk about today is how to support ourselves when you know, we're on these summer excursions. It's not necessarily just, you know, going camping and hiking. Those are probably my favorites. But, you know, taking water parks into consideration too. So I do have a presentation to share with you. There was a doggy hair on my screen. Go figure. Because they're everywhere here. For sure. So let me get up. Look at this. I'm probably going to hit it right this time. If I were any better, I would have had it already in its place, right? So here we go. Here we go. So summer fun excursions. I'm really, I love this time of the year just because I'm able to get out into nature more. Fall is by far my favorite time of the year. But you know, things move a little bit differently in the summer. It's a little bit more laid back. There's a little less stress, and there's just a little bit more flexibility, at least for us on our calendar, because we don't have classes that we need to go to or groups that we need to meet up with, and we're just pretty much setting up our own calendar here. So what I'm going to go over with you guys today is oils and products that will help make these summer adventures even better than ever. So I'm going to look at 4 specific areas, actually 3. I didn't put the beach and the lake in there. I was really looking for more information on like boating safety, and I just got completely inundated. So we're going to talk about camping, road trips, and water parks, since that is, you know, what my family really likes to do. And there's a couple of great big water parks en route to the East Coast. So I'm hoping that we can tackle at least one of them. So John Moore is one of my favorite people. He was a really great activist in our national parks, you know, being an advocate, being a voice of why we need them and why we need to protect them. So he has a lot of writings and poems and just thoughts on getting out in nature. And I totally felt this one when I came across it. The mountains are calling and I must go. I feel very privileged and fortunate to live here where I can walk out my door and turn to, you know, the east and see our beautiful, beautiful mountains. Every day it's just a new experience. They're alive right now. The rain has been such a huge blessing, and they are coming to life. You can actually see texture and green from a distance. So I love spending time in nature. I love the mountains. They're just so majestic. And just that whole, you know, and how they're formed just always overwhelms me with a lot of gratitude. They're just so beautiful. But yeah, so the mountains are calling and I must go. So we're going to look at camping first. Okay, so a checklist. If you're seasoned campers, you probably don't need a piece of paper to go through and make sure that you're getting all your things. If you're a seasoned camper, you probably have 1 or 2 bins or boxes or bags that already has your camp equipment in them. We do, as far as for like our camping gear per se, like not so much as our tents and our sleeping bags, but like the utensils that we'll use there. There's a first aid kit already in there. There's dog specific sprays for that. And, you know, our propane tanks and things like that. Big refillable water jugs that we can take to our campsite just in case there isn't a spigot there, or, you know, running water that we can use. So I like to have that just because it makes it easy as we're planning and prepping to go out the door. But if you don't have a checklist, it's okay. I have one for you. This is actually from REI, and it is pretty extensive and probably a little bit, you know, type A. I'm showing you my type A personality here, but I love lists, especially when we're, you know, I'm taking a family of 4, sometimes 5, and sometimes, you know, an additional 2, so a total of 7, and then our pups. So I do have a checklist because it just makes it easier for me to make sure I have all of our supplies together and make sure that, you know, if there are any emergent situations, I'm going to have the tools that I need. So this is available online. I do not take credit for it. Like I said, it's from REI. I consider them my experts for outdoor adventures. And if you guys have ever been to REI, anybody there they're just so helpful with, you know, helping you identify your, you know, priorities for tools and clothing and such. So you can download that, and I will definitely put a link in our group underneath this video so that you can go snag it for yourself. And I will put it, I will add a link onto our YouTube channel underneath the video so that you can snag it there too. So you see it covers, you know, just different categories, right? I think what's really important for me personally is clothing. I tend to, you know, I run the whole spectrum. Yeah, I can be comfortable in a pair of shorts you know, during the day, but man, nighttime comes around and I need my flannels because I'm so cold, even with a campfire. So that's something that I really focus on for myself, as well as my personal items. I have comfort things, you guys. I'm not sharing what they are, but I have comfort things. So some essential oils and products to consider when you're out camping is, of course, sunscreen, right? And we've been blessed to have this beautiful new line available to us. And although I haven't received an update, there hasn't been one released about the face and body lotion. We know that the stick is sold out. Should have grabbed it while you could. Love that stick. It is by far my favorite. It has, gosh, you guys, it goes on so smoothly and it absorbs so quickly into the skin. And I love that my face did not break out with this. So this one is sold out, but there is still some of this available. This is the lotion. And it'll feel like, you know, you'll see it go on, but man, it absorbs so quickly into the skin. I absolutely love it. So this is an SPF of 30, as well as the spray. So the spray was a big hit for us last weekend when we went to the falls. It does go on white. Let me see if I can give you a quick demo, because this is the one that if you're going to hesitate to order, this is probably what you're going to end up getting, because this will be what's left. There was a little left of the lotion. So you see it goes on white, but when you rub it into your skin, it just feels so lovely, so just rich, but it doesn't feel heavy, and it absorbs so easily and quickly into the skin. So you'll need to reapply if you're out being really active at your campsite, at least every 2 hours. This has an 18-hour protection for all 3, but definitely reapply. And if you're boating or, you know, swimming in the lake or getting wet under the falls, make sure that you reapply. Terra Shield. This is by far has been the biggest, you know, surprising outdoor product for me. I never have been one to really like, you know, the insect repellents. I can't stand the scent of them. I can't stand the way they feel on my skin. This one is nothing but oils, and it absorbs nicely into the skin, and it protects you, and it is an insect repellent. So it's really safe, it's gentle, it smells delicious, and I have proof that they protect you from the huge mosquitoes in the Kentucky outback. Oh my gosh. The one time that I forgot to spray it on, I was just attacked in that one area. Everything else was just fine. Anyway, so you'll also need some peppermint out there to kind of help keep you cool. But then, peppermint is one of those powerhouses that you can use for just about anything. You can put a couple of drops around your picnic table or around your coolers, and it'll keep the bugs away. If you need it for tummy aches or even headaches, this can really help you too. So it's just an all-around Swiss Army knife, and should definitely have that in your first aid kits too. Some other considerations. Oops, I don't know how that REI got stuck up there. Serenity Restful Complex. If you are one of those people that do not sleep well outside of your home, outside of your bed, consider taking this. This is going to be really helpful to help get you to that place of sleep, but also keep you from feeling groggy the next day. Helichrysum. This Helichrysum Touch is by far one of the best oils to have in your first aid kit. So for any skin abrasions, burns that you may have encountered around that campfire, even bites or scrapes, whatever's going on, have this as your first line of defense. Roll that sucker on, and then add a drop of Correctex over it. You'll find that, the next day, it just may not exist, whatever it is that you were encountered. But Correctex is our natural ointment. So use this whenever you do have any first reach situations. And it's so good, you guys, and it lasts for a really long time. I think I put one of those into our first aid kit, and it's there for at least another year. One, we hardly use it when we're out and about because we don't really get hurt. We use that more at home than anywhere else. So make sure that you snag that and put that into your first aid kits. So some camping snacks. I'm not, well, if you want to call me a crunchy hippie, you can. But I really do like healthy options because I have been known to pound down a huge bag of salt and vinegar chips, or even Cheetos Flaming Hot. I have no qualms. You guys already know that I have no qualms in eating what I want. But this is a really good alternative for you, a different option that is healthier for you. There's very little fat in these recipes, and you're really enhancing the flavor with essential oils, so you're getting those health benefits too. I have an ebook that I put together for you guys that have the recipes for this. Of these, my most surprising, I had two that make my top list here. Those lemon kale chips, who would have thunk, right? If you make these, you're gonna want to make them again and again and again, because they just taste so yummy. And they don't, I was expecting, the very first time I made those, I was expecting like the fibers from the kale to be still present. I know that when I don't blend my smoothies with fresh kale, I tend to find some of those fibers still kind of hanging out there, but this did not. It was crunchy and light, and it did satisfy that salty craving that I had, along with the lemon for the vinegar part of my salt and vinegar chips. So this was a very healthy option. I absolutely love them. They're so delicious. And then my second surprising favorite from here are those curried spice cashews. Now, I never thought that, I think I started playing around with roasting nuts and oils and such for Christmas, making Christmas gifts. And I came across this recipe probably about a couple of years ago, I think. I've been following the minimalist baker for quite some time, and I do not take credit for this recipe. I've only, swapped out some dried spices and put in some essential oils, and I absolutely love this. I never was one to like curry, just never spoke to me, so I was very hesitant to try this, and wow, what a surprise. I really did like it. And I strongly recommend that you go ahead and add that lime zest to it, because it's really going to heighten the flavor. So like I said, I have these recipes for you on a document that you can download. There's the link for that, and I will again post that below the video so that you can snag yours. But these are really, really easy to make. They're very flexible in that you can change the flavors to meet your needs. And those protein, those peanut butter protein balls, not necessarily just for camping. I've had these for after workout snacks or before workout snacks, or if I'm on the go and I just kind of miss lunch or something or the other, and they provide a nice kick, a good source of protein. So some road trips. I love road trips. I love that, you can pretty much set the mood for your trip with the music that's going on in the car and the oils that you're diffusing. I will tell you that when you're out and about, and it's going to be interesting for us this time around, because we're going in 2 separate vehicles, and we usually have everybody just jam-packed in the van, right? But we're going to take 2 separate vehicles because we just need to. We need the space, the extra space. So we're going to have to do some prep for both, right? I find that whenever we are on the road and, we've either gone through the snacks that we had initially purchased and we're still like on the same day, or we're refueling and refueling our snacks as well. I don't really like to buy things at the convenience store. One, they just cost way so much more, and it's a very small selection. I like to instead, find a grocery store that's close by to buy our snackage. I can get more, I can get bigger sizes, and I pay less. So something that my husband does before we get on the road is he makes sure that our vehicle is roadworthy. So looking at, this is not my area, but I know that it's important because he does spend time on this every time that we're headed out or taking a road trip. He does take the time to do this, and I'm grateful that this is his area of genius. So maintain that vehicle. I know that he checks tires, because I think he said, it's been a while since, it's been a few years since we bought new tires. I don't think it's been that long, but in his head, he's thinking we probably need everything new. Oil changes, fluids, all those things. If you know about that stuff, great, take care of it. If you don't, find somebody who does. Set a reasonable daily mileage goal, especially if you're going on a very long trip. Know your limits. Know that you do need a break every 2-3 hours, or know that you can, drive for a longer period of time, but you're going to need to stop and get some, some sleep. Break that down. And if you're sharing the driving with somebody else, really map that out. I remember our very first long road trip back in 2017 or 16, 2016. Is it 16? Our very first long cross country, because of my nature, my type A, always needing to be in control, which I just for the record, it's not so colorful these days. It's a little muted. I just had a really tough time relinquishing the wheel to my husband. And I found that by the time we were up in Minnesota, I had to pull over, and I had just a good crying fit because I was so exhausted. But I had brought that on myself because I wasn't willing to relinquish some of that responsibility. So now we definitely have set times we're driving, and it's usually changing out when we need to refuel. And that has really worked for us. I don't have those, I haven't had another, pull over and cry session since that time. And I find that we're both in better spirits when we feel rested behind the wheel. So make sure that you plan that out. Avoiding rush hour. You know where you're going, know what time, at least do some kind of, estimate so that you know if you're going to be in Oklahoma City during rush hour. Don't be in Oklahoma City or Tulsa during rush hour. No, it's no good, you guys. And of course, the dinner hours too. Especially like towards the end of the week, I've noticed more of that happening, that the traffic just gets a little bit heavier during the dinner hours. Anyway, so just avoid that, and then know where construction's at. There's a lot of great apps, and the states each have their own little section on their website for the Department of Transportation where you can find that information too. Don't rely on your cellular service, especially if you have a sucky one. And find yourself, in the Poconos and a little bit lost and confused. Plan to do laundry on the road. And this is really just dependent on how long you plan to be out there driving and your destination. Make sure that you are organized as much as not just in your car, as far as what is going to be actually out and available, or nicely tucked and packed away in the back or on the top. So make sure that you're organized as well as with your itinerary, and have one. I love just getting up and driving, but I also am one that needs to have, I need to have a plan on paper. That makes me feel so great and so comfortable. But I also understand and accept that that may not happen that way, but at least I had a plan. I'm able to process new information and changes a lot easier when I have a plan. And then of course, get your AAA. You're gonna need that AAA, even if you're just paying for, I forgot what the annual charges are. I think the last time that I saw that it was like $60 or something like that, or the other, maybe it was an add-on from our insurance. Again, this is my husband's area of expertise, so I personally do not know. But have some kind of roadside assistance. If it's not with your insurance, make a third party or something, because you just never know what's going to happen out there. You can do everything possible to prepare for the best road trip ever, but things happen. All right. Some other things to consider: if you're taking prescription medication, make sure that you have them filled. You bring extra. I will share with you, when my son was younger, I think he was probably like maybe he was maybe 6 or 7. We were on a trip and we had just reached Las Vegas, New Mexico. We were headed north that direction. And he needed to take his albuterol inhaler, and we forgot his chamber. And for a little one who couldn't quite get that whole coordination bit, that was a really big challenge for us. And I think we were even out of, I think I forgot the albuterol as well, because we pulled into the pharmacy and made a phone call. We were able to get the script refilled. That's right, we were able to get the script refilled, but we weren't able to get the chamber. So it was like, just put it in the bag and don't tell anybody. And that pharmacist just looked at me like, that's against the law. So that didn't work. And so I had to make phone calls to our insurance provider to get another one, because it was like an obscene price without insurance. But anyway, so make sure that you're prepared, bring extra. And it got to the point that I just had albuterol inhalers everywhere. One in the car, in the glove box, one in the back, in the seat, cubby, one in my purse, one in somebody's, in his backpack, or, I had to undergo something very stressful for me to make better decisions down the road and prep better. So make sure that you're getting your prescriptions taken care of, and your supplements. Make sure you're ordering your supplements ahead of time so that you can have your extra for your road trip. Or even those things that you don't typically buy, but provide you a lot of support, right? I think the last thing I want to tackle on here is just keep in touch with people who know that you're out on the road. I know that for us, my touchstone is the parents, both sets of them, and just to let them know where we've landed and what's going on. It provides peace of mind for both sides, and that way, if there's any emergencies on our end, they at least have the latest information, right? So that's all I'm going to say about that. Get behind the wheel and go, basically, right? So some road trip essentials to think about, those ginger drops. Now, these are delicious. They taste really great, but this is really helpful for that person that may have, a queasy stomach on the road. It's also great that if maybe you ate some really bad, I don't know, convenience store chimichangas or whatever, these ginger drops can really help you, as well as the digestion. I know my digestive system gets a little bit out of whack when we're on the road for a long period of time. So just kind of think ahead. Mito 2 Max has been a great support in, keeping you focused. I like taking this in the morning, and it just kind of helps keep me alert, keep me awake, keeps me from feeling drowsy behind the wheel. And even the serenity at night, taking that if we're, at a hotel, or sleeping at friends' house, family members' houses, whatever. It just helps to get me into that place of rest that I have a really tough time doing whenever we're traveling. So those are some suggestions there. And then of course you need your diffuser. Love, love, love the Pilot diffuser. This fits into your cubby. And these are by far our top 3 for driving in the car. We have to have our balance for our dogs. That's just a given. It has to be in the diffuser. Sometimes it's in there with peppermint, sometimes it's in there with orange, sometimes it's in there all 3. Wild orange and peppermint has always been my go-to for a quick pick-me-up, even if it's just putting the drops in my hand and inhaling this way and moving on. I've loved that combination since I was introduced to oils, and it has been the best and my go-to for giving me a quick boost. But if you don't have that Pilot diffuser, you guys, make sure you get you one. And I think they still have some of that Malama one left. So take a look in your online hubs and see what's available for you. I love this one. We have 2. We put one in the front and then we put one in the back for the kids and the dogs. And it just is it's so supportive when we're out on the road, especially that balance. I can't even imagine traveling with my pups or my kids for that matter. With balance. What do we do before oils? I don't even want to know. I don't even want to visit that space. No. Waterparks. So there are a couple of water parks on our itinerary headed to the East Coast. I'm hoping that we can tackle at least one of them because, it's not cliffs. It's an actual water park. And I don't think our kids have been to a really big water park since they were littler. So definitely with your sunscreen, apply it often since you're going to be in the water. Make sure you're drinking water. I think that's what happens, whenever you are like at a water park or amusement park. You're drinking sodas. Please stop if you are. You're drinking sodas or, milkshakes, sweet drinks, juices, whatever, but you're not drinking water. Yes, those are fluids. Use that term loosely, but you really need water. So make sure that you're alternating if you are indulging in some sodas or, whatever, make sure you're drinking water in between those drinks as well. And dress for the day, make sure you have your water shoes. A hat is great, and then maybe a loose t-shirt that you can put on if you have a water shirt. If you're sitting down to eat, and you're going to be out of the water for a long period of time, switch it out so that you can let your water shirt dry out for one, but it also protecting your skin and letting your skin breathe. And know your 4 twos. Know when you're too tired. Know when you're too cold. Know when you have strayed too far from safety. And this is for our non-swimmers and our smaller people. And then when you've been too exposed. Know your limits, right? And don't ignore them. And adults, parents, watch your children. Don't expect the lifeguards to be able to watch all of those kids. I used to do that. I used to train lifeguards in a previous life. And it can get really distracting, or you can just become really like in a hypnotic state. Don't expect anybody to take care of your children but yourself, all right? And even your older kids, at least with this, too tired and too exposed bit, because they're having so much fun. Make sure that you guys talk about rules and boundaries, all right? Wash your hands often. So the chemicals that they use to clean the slides, the equipment, and even the chlorine in the water, they're very harsh. So if you're going to get a drink of water, or go up to the concession stands and get some snackage or what have you, wash your hands before you do that, so that you can get the residue off of them. Again, watch your kids. And the American Safety Council suggests that children under 48 inches tall, and even those that are not that 48 inches tall, but are non-swimmers, use a life vest. I read a survey from the American Red Cross where 30% of parents there that they talked to, so 30 parents out of 100, felt that the floaties, those little bubble thingies around the top parts of the arms, the floaties, was enough supervision for their kids to get into water. No, they're not. And don't ever believe that. Those are fun. It's not a personal flotation device. So make sure that especially like, the water parks have those wave pools, make sure that your non-swimmers and your littles have a life vest on. And even if you're at like a beach or at a lake, consider that too. Know how to swim. That's always good, right? Know the rules of the water park. No running around, everything's wet. It's probably very congested, and keep your littles in a shallow area. It's your responsibility to take care of your littles. Don't expect somebody else to do it. All right, so what kind of products can we look at here? Again, your sunscreen, definitely need that. Reaching for peppermint again to help us keep cool, and Xandocrine. So this might be a surprise, but I love the smell of chlorine, but I don't like the feel of it on my skin. So if you plan to spend a full day at a water park or at a swimming pool, remember they have to treat that water with a lot of harsh chemicals. And the more exposure that we have to them, the more it's going to seep into our system, right? So if you're going to be out there for a long period of time, or you bought a 3-day pass, consider taking a Xandocrine soft gel in the morning. These are small enough to where even those that have a hard time swallowing can swallow them, or not. If they can't swallow that, take some Xandocrine and rub it on the bottoms of the feet, just to kind of help the body process all those toxins and get them out. Hand and body lotion, not sunscreen, but if you get pruny or even washing hands, and sometimes you just need a little bit of just soothing, have some of that handy. Overall, okay, not just so much as for summer excursions, but it's important here too, because you're exposing yourself to new elements, new environments. You're exposing yourself to new toxins, right? So make sure that you're taking a serious step to stay healthy while you're on the road. The last thing you want to do is end up with some kind of digestive issue when you're on the road. There isn't a restroom for miles, or you spend most of your time lying down out in the mountains, not because it's relaxing, but because you just can't function. All right, make sure you're reaching for your daily supplements, whether that's Lifelong Vitality for adults or the A to Z chewables and the IQ Omega for the kids. All right, make sure that you just keep that daily regimen going. And if you're going to be on the road for a long period of time, make sure that you have enough. Count what, do an estimate of how many of these you're going to need while you're on the road, and make sure that you pack plenty. And digestive support is so important, especially if you're going to be eating, some new rich foods, exploring with the cuisine of the area, and just just that whole constant movement and not being settled can really affect your digestive system. Make sure that you're staying, you're keeping your immune system protected. We like to take an On Guard Plus daily, especially when we're traveling, just to make sure that we're keeping our immune system ready to take on whatever comes its way. Definitely have those sanitizing mists with you. And if you haven't already, or you don't know, we do have On Guard sanitizing wipes. They come in a box here, or they come in a bigger, dispenser, so that you can have those like at your campsite. You can have those in your car. You can keep these little wipes in your purse, in your backpack, so that you can take with you when you need them. Those are for on the go. So those make a really great addition to your first aid kits, to your backpacks, to your picnic baskets. It's just really great to have these on hand. And then of course, who can function with all of these excursions without your deep blue? Don't forget, we also have a deep blue polyphenol. I think right now you could only get that through some of the LRP kits and the wellness programs. So that's why I didn't put a picture here. But if you're a member, you can access that deep blue polyphenol through your membership benefits. All right. So love these. The stick is small enough to stick into first aid kits or wherever, your purses, backpacks, again, your swim bags. And then you can keep that deep blue rub handy at your campsite for a free-for-all, or keep it in your first aid kit. Just make sure that you think about where you're going to go and what you're going to encounter, and what could possibly go wrong physically, for one, and just go from there. And you can never go wrong with the top 10 oils and a bottle of empty veggie caps. You just can't. Or the top 10 oils in a touch form. Then you have the whole gamut covered, right? So I hope that this was helpful for you. And I hope that when you go out for your summer excursions, that you're protected, that you're safe, and that you're having a ton of fun. And never underestimate the healing power of these three things: music, the ocean, and the stars. Oh, love that. I love that. All right. So you can always stay connected with us here. And if you're watching us on YouTube, hit a like and subscribe to our channel, please. And if you want more information, more recipes, more tips, you're always welcome to join us on our private Facebook group, or you can sign up for our newsletter. It comes out every week, and there's always some new information to divulge. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I appreciate it. We'll see you. Have fun this summer.